Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so excited you're here and I can't wait to show you what we're gonna make today. On this channel, we like to make DIYs and cocktails to go with it. My name is Daniela and I can't wait for you to see what we're making today for the Chic for Cheap challenge. This is hosted by Christi Creates, and this month it's co-hosted by my good friend Sammy Veltri from Unicorn Dust Designs. Let's get into it. Cheers! Our first DIY is this gorgeous wood tree, whatever you want to call it, inspired candle holder, votive, whatever. And all I'm doing here is mixing some glue and water to help this tissue paper stick. I'm using this tissue paper pack I got from Dollar Tree and just using the birch wood one to cut out the right size. I cut it out the wrong size the first time, so make sure that your lines are lining up the way that they're supposed to be. Then I cut it the right way so that we could actually make it fit. I'm just cutting it to the size I need. I think I end up cutting it a little bit smaller later, but anyways, just set that aside because I realized since we're gluing that part and this part is contact paper, it's probably better to do that on top. So I'm super thankful if you guys have seen my Dollar Tree haul that I finally found this wood grain contact paper at Dollar Tree. I've seen it on DIY Home and Crafts by Jazz and other channels that they have this wood grain contact paper, which I honestly haven't seen at any other store. So I'm grateful because I finally found it at Dollar Tree. So I'm just cutting strips of this in the light shade and the dark shade. Then I'm just kind of measuring how I want it to be on my candle holder thing. I don't actually know what this glass piece is for. I got it at Dollar Tree. I think it's for flowers or candles. We don't really know. So anyways, just piece by piece, I am placing my dark wood grain contact paper on the bottom and my light wood grain on the top. I am snipping off any excess because it's honestly pretty hard to get it to be equal or even on the sides. You could probably use a rotary cutter and a measuring mat or ruler, but I like to improvise, so I didn't do that. So if you have any bubbles, all you have to do is take honestly, you could take a sharp pair of scissors, but I'm using a craft knife and X-Acto knife. Just make a teeny tiny slit, and all those bubbles just like air out in that, and it turns out perfectly. Once I've got that going for me, I just take some of my birchwood tissue paper. It does go a little bit longer than necessary, but that's okay because layering is okay. I think it gives it a better texture that makes it look like wood. And I'm using my watered down glue to glue it on. I have more DIYs with this coming up soon. This is a technique I learned from getting air dry clay and other textures onto your glass, and so it's been really helpful for me. It's okay if it tears a little bit. It really won't hurt it a lot. We will add more glue and tissue paper, and honestly you can rip a little piece just to fix it up, but we'll add more paint too just to make it look like it's realistic. And yeah, so anyways, when you've got it all down, I just use some of that to pat it down. I've noticed that when I dragged my brush, it really kind of ripped the tissue paper even more. And I'm okay with that in some spots, but not everywhere. So just tap it on. Don't forget to take a sippy sip as you go on and smooth out any edges you can. As this dries, I'm going to fill it for the next part. So I'm taking some floral foam that I got this one from Walmart. In my recent Dollar Tree haul, I finally stocked up on it because they sell it so fast. But for this one, I just used some floral foam that I got at Walmart. It's the same kind, but unfortunately it doesn't come in little chunks, so you have to cut it. I'm using my gorgeous little amazing ladybug vacuum to clean everything up. I'm so thankful for this because honestly, otherwise I sweep it all on the floor and I have to vacuum it. And this makes it so much easier for cleaning. And then I'm taking this little tiny candle holder I got in a 3-pack from Dollar Tree. I'm painting the bottom white just so you can't see anything underneath it in case it's touching the foam. We don't want it to look green in there. And I let that dry. Then I've got some leftover white stones that I've gotten from Dollar Tree, and I put a bunch in my candle holder. One, because I want it to be more full, but also it fills in those little cracks in between the green floral floral foam that you can't quite see. So I use those to fill it up, and then I use this gorgeous pack of, I don't know, marbles or whatever that are like beige, light pink, a little light turquoise, absolutely stunning, to fill in the extra spots that are underneath my little candle holder. Here it is from the upside view. I know it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but it really does look cute when you see it from above. Then I'm taking a votive candle that comes in a 4-pack from Dollar Tree, sticking it in the middle, and then I take a little bit of Waverly white chalk paint because my sides are finally dry to emphasize this birchwood look. I use a few colors to do this to make it look good. I really like the way it looks, but I want to emphasize it even more. So I take some of this Waverly white chalk paint to do that, and then later I also use some of my Waverly antique wax and a teeny tiny bit of black to emphasize it even more, just to make sure it looks even more like birchwood. If you guys have watched my channel for a while, you know I love colorful DIYs, everything pink, but this just really fit the bill for making it look for chic for cheap, and so I absolutely love how it turned out. It's absolutely stunning and gorgeous, great for a centerpiece for your coffee table or your kitchen table or anywhere else. This was such a fun, unique project to make. The marbles on the top really do make a difference. I know it's hard to see on camera, but you'll just have to trust me on this one that it really adds a nice extra touch. If you're enjoying what you see, you like my cocktails or my crafts or my personality, whatever it is, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel for a lot more fun content. Now let's get back into it. This week's cocktail is a delicious strawberry margarita. You guys have heard me say before that margaritas are my favorite drink. So I'm using some Espolón tequila, not sponsored. I just love it. It's my favorite kind. And I'm putting 2 shots into a mason jar that also doubles as a shaker. I'm trying to be more legit in this one, okay? Like, technically, I have my bartender's license, but I basically only served wine and beer with it. So anyways, 2 shots of tequila in my little Batman shot glass, throwing it in with a little bit of water. I will say I did end up adding a little too much water, so you'll see me later adding some more ingredients of the other ones. Then I'm going to squeeze half of an orange in there. It really just gives it a sweet and fresh touch to it, as well as some lime juice. Then you want to fill your mason jar or shaker, whatever you've got, with some ice to make it nice and cold. And I'm also adding some of my frozen syrupy strawberries. If you guys haven't had these before, you're missing out. They're so good on pancakes, waffles, and drinks, whatever. I also added some agave syrup because I was worried it wouldn't be sweet enough. And then I load the bottom of my glass with some more of those syrupy strawberries that are absolutely delicious. If you have fresh strawberries, all you have to do is add sugar to them, let them sit for a couple hours, and they are great. I muddled those in the bottom of my glass and then added my mixture to them. I won't lie, as you guys know, I don't really measure my stuff out, so it was really more watery than I had hoped, so I do end up adding a little more lime, a little more tequila, and a little more agave, and then it came out perfect. I also let some of my strawberries soak in my tequila for my second drink to make it a little bit more fruity and flavorful. Our second DIY is this birch wood candle. I actually ended up using a candle that I had for, I think, honestly 2 years that I got on clearance at Michael's. So I'm just peeling off some of that clearance sticker the best I can before I use some Waverly white chalk paint to cover this base as best I could. It doesn't have to be perfect, but every little bit helps. So do the best that you can to cover all this space. Then I use my light wood grain contact paper to measure out how it would look at the top of my candle. I do remove the top. I don't end up putting it back because honestly, my favorite candles are the ones that don't have that bulky top at the top, I guess. So anyways, I just cut some of that and then stick it to the very top of my candle to make it more cohesive with my other DIYs. Once you got that going for you, all you have to do is take a little bit of your Waverly antique wax, and add some texture and color to this piece. Honestly, this part isn't really necessary because we do end up putting tissue paper over it, but I do feel like it adds a little bit of depth. Once you got that done, you're going to use the rest of your watered down Elmer's glue. I really wanted to use this because I obviously mixed too much, and so this was the perfect DIY to use that. So I'm just doing it piece by piece and using my birch wood tissue paper I got from Dollar Tree and wrapping it around my candle base. I'm just doing it section by section so nothing dries out and so that everything's nice and saturated. If it's not perfect, it's okay. Just brush it on, and again, just like before, just do little bits of dabs of it where you can. I had an empty spot where I just used an extra piece and laid some glue on and laid that little extra piece of tissue paper on. It turns out perfect. You just have to have patience with this one. Then I'm going to take some twine, some thick jute or twine, whatever you want to call it, and you could burn this with a lighter, but I ended up just painting it with a little bit of antique wax from Waverly, as well as a little bit of black paint, just to give it a nice color that kind of matches the rest of our color palette for these DIYs. Make sure to coat it as best as you can. I even used some of this rope and just rolled it around and pressed it into my paper towel to make sure all of it was covered in this darker color. Then I used my brand new heat gun or heat tool that I'm super excited that my boyfriend bought for me for Christmas. I'll have it linked down below in Amazon, which is where we bought it from. And I just use this to dry up my jar. Don't use it too close or too hot. I have it on the lower setting so it doesn't melt my candle. Just be gentle with it. Then all I do is use some hot glue to slowly get that darker piece of twine or jute wrapped around my candle. Once you've got it glued all the way around, make sure you cut to size, and that's honestly it. This is really cute and easy. All you need is a candle that you probably have laying around the house just like we did. I think it's turned out super chic and super cute. If you know me, you know I love color, but when I think of chic, I think of neutrals. So I think this perfectly fit that. I just wanted to remind you all to check out Christi Creates channel as well as Sammy from Unicorn Dust Designs channel. I will have both their channels linked below as well as the playlist for this Chic for Cheap challenge. Our third and final DIY is this cute little fenced in rustic looking candle holder. Again, if you know me, you know these aren't my colors, but when I think of chic, I think of these rustic white, browns, blacks colors, and I had to try something with this sink mat, which I got the inspiration for from DIY Home and Crafts from DIY by Jazz. So all I'm doing in the beginning here is using some of our little Jenga blocks or tower building blocks and painting them with our antique wax, which really brings out that beautiful wood grain color, and it really adds to the look of our piece. I sincerely apologize, but this is all I can show you for the next part. I just used one of these Dollar Tree sink mats, cut it up and painted it white, glued it onto my little wood blocks, and made a holder for my candles. I think these all turned out really, really nice, and I hope you enjoyed them just as much as I did. Thanks to Sammy and Christy for hosting this challenge. I'm so glad I got to be a part of it. Thanks for your support, and see you next time. Bye!